Okay, so we want to sketch the graph of y equals negative half x squared plus x plus 1. And I'm going to go slow on this one and actually get started by graphing y equals x squared first. And why is that? Just because I want to explain why we're going to have the shape that we do for negative half x squared. So remember that the shape of y equals x squared, quite simple. We go over 1 up 1, over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9, and here we go. This is our graph of y equals x squared. And we're going to use this as the basis. Well, I completely missed that point. I'm going to redo it. This graph of y equals x squared will be the basis that we're going to use to graph this guy later. So now we want to graph negative half x squared. So what I'm going to do here is actually take the y equals x squared and with that graph y equals half x squared instead. And to do that, I just need to half the points of the y values. Sorry, it just blanked out there for a second. So our vertex is just going to be 0, 0. So instead of going over 1 up 1, we're going to go over 1 up half. Over 1 up half. Instead of over 2 up 4, we're going to half the 4. So that we're just going to have a 2 over here and a 2 over there. And then normally we go over 3 up 9. 9 times half is 4 and a half. So it's going to go over here somewhere. And normally on the graph of y equals x squared, you would go over 4 up 16. 16 times half is just 8. So we're going to go over 4 up 8. So over here. Okay, so this is the shape of y equals half squared. So, wow, let me just try to draw a smooth shape here. Something like this. And let's see if we can write on the other side as well. Something like that. So the red graph is just y equals half x squared. Now let's finally get started by completing the square of this parabola over here. So I'm going to need to factor a negative half out. Negative half x, sorry, negative half x squared divided by negative half is just x squared. Then positive 1x divided by negative half will be negative 2x. And what's that? Because we have 1x divided by, computer's being slow, give me a second here, by negative half. This is equivalent to 1x times negative 2 over 1. And why is that again? Because every time that we divide, we're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So 1x times negative 2 over 1 is just negative 2x. And then the one outside is just waiting. Alright, so now I can add a number that will complete the square. So I'll take negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1, and I'll square it. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. So add a 1 and I'll take it away. Alright, so over here we have negative half x squared minus 2x plus 1. The 1 is still outside, and I can take this negative 1 outside also. Negative 1 times negative half is positive half. And we always need to multiply this number by the number in front of the whole thing once we take it away, or once we take it out of the brackets rather. And now we can just combine everything. So we have y equals negative half x minus 1 squared. And that is the fully factored form of x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now 1 plus half is 1.5, or just 3 over 2. And our vertex in this case is going to be positive 1, comma 3 over 2, which is 1.5. And why is it positive 1? We always invert that signal. Hope everyone remembers that. So let me just pick a different color here for our final graph. So 1, comma 3.5. So our vertex is right here. 1, comma 1.5. And we have negative half x squared. So the shape will be identical to the red graph that we have here, which is y equals half x squared, but it will go down instead because of the negative. So we're going to go over 1 down half, So over 1 down half, over 2 down 2. So it's going to go over here. We're going down by halves, so that's kind of tricky. So 1, 2. Then remember that we went over 3 up 4.5. So over 3 down 4.5. Over here and over there. Then finally over 4 up 8. So instead over 4 down 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, over there. Okay, now I'll try to draw a smooth curve. And this point, by the way, was unintentional. Whoops. And that was okay. And let's try it over here. There we go. Shouldn't miss that point, but okay, here we go. Our orange graph, I guess this color's orange, is our y equals negative half x squared plus x plus 1. And at this point, we're done.